California, it's got a little bit of everything. Beaches, mountains, forests, a homelessness crisis, typhus, and an epidemic of rats. From coast to coast, Democrats are turning a blind eye to the serious problems, instead focusing on feel-good pet policy projects like, you guessed it, climate change.
Exposing lies, revealing truth. Here's the deal with Deneen Borelli.
Democrats are blatantly ignoring the needs of their people. Take the massive homelessness problem in California. The images and stats of the homelessness crisis are shocking. From Los Angeles,
new numbers from the city's annual homeless count estimate more than 36,000 people in the city are homeless. That's up 16% from last year.
To San Francisco, Business Insider recently reported San Francisco's homelessness population has swelled by 17% in 2 years, with most of that growth coming from people living out of their cars. Sadly, the city streets of California reflect those of third world countries. Homeless camps, human waste, drug paraphernalia, and mounds of garbage, all of which are a recipe for an infectious disease epidemic. And these rotting piles of trash are attracting rats. Enough rats to raise a concern of a new epidemic. Things are so bad in Los Angeles, the city has turned on itself. City leaders are failing to tackle homeless crisis. One leader is Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, who is just too busy with other things.
We don't need more studies to show us the reality about climate change. We just have to look out the window.
I wonder what window Garcetti's been looking out of these days. Even more concerning, the growing rat population is bringing the flea-borne medieval disease typhus to Los Angeles. Take a look at this footage from NBC News.
Armies of rats running through the streets of downtown LA, suspected of causing an outbreak of typhus that's hitting Los Angeles hard.
In fact, a City Hall employee contracted typhus at work and is suing. Oh, but don't worry. While diseased rats are taking over the streets, Mayor Garcetti is combating climate change. Los Angeles is the second largest city implementing a Green New Deal agenda. One of Garcetti's suggestions? To drive 6 fewer miles every day. Shocking, I know. While California is facing a serious homelessness crisis, their Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom is also proudly riding on the climate change bandwagon.
Climate change, I began with that, I'll end with that, and I'll continue to talk about this because we're passionate about it. It's part of the state's DNA, it's part of our pride. There is no debate, I have no interest in even engaging in the stale rhetoric of those that are in complete denial about the science.
How about engaging in reality, Newsom? How about engaging with the homelessness crisis in your state? And speaking of twisted Democrat priorities, the mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, is promoting the One New York City 2050 initiative. This project creates new building codes, cracks down on glass towers, requires new renewable energy, starts citywide composting, and invests in resilience planning and implementing a new congestion pricing scheme that's designed to take cars off the streets of Manhattan. What is it about a New York City mayor that allows them to focus exclusively on the rich? Because previous New York City mayor, the billionaire Michael Bloomberg, is a huge advocate for climate change policies and staunchly detests coal. Bloomberg pledged a whopping $500 million to fast-track the closure of coal plants in the U.S. by the year 2030. It's called the Beyond Carbon Initiative, which was created to combat climate change, eliminate coal, and put the U.S. on track toward a 100% clean energy economy. Coal State Democrat Senator from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, slammed Bloomberg. This pledge to shut down U.S. coal plants by 2030 will only serve to hurt coal miners and their families, as well as further devastate West Virginia communities that are suffering from the downturn in coal production, and does nothing to address the global nature of the climate crisis. Bloomberg clearly doesn't care about putting coal miners out of work by killing the coal industry, harming thousands of families, and devastating numerous communities. Just think about what $500 million could do for the homeless, drug addiction, or the veterans committing suicide every day. In fact, the number of homelessness in New York City shelters just hit a record high. But Bloomberg is on a mission to save the world, and to hell with the forgotten men and women of the U.S. And as the 2020 presidential election fast approaches, here's a very interesting headline. Homelessness is a crisis in California. Why are 2020 candidates mostly ignoring it? Yep, while the homelessness crisis in California is on steroids, their very own hometown presidential candidate, Senator Kamala Harris, doesn't see this as a priority. And her campaign declined requests for comment on this story. Yikes. Here's the deal. Democrats are ignoring solvable problems right in front of them because addressing these issues aren't tearing up to their 2020 agenda. The twisted priorities of Newsom, Garcetti, de Blasio, and Bloomberg show they are more concerned about trendy issues like climate change than dealing with real and dangerous issues their cities face every day. Democrats are implementing policies to save the world in 12 years while medieval diseases spread through the streets. The fundamental role of government is to protect citizens, and these coastal catastrophes are making it pretty clear Democrats can't deliver. I'm Deneen Borelli with Blaze TV.